Hey, you want to try this again? Remember that one time we already started this episode?
Yeah. We made it like 6 minutes in and the computer fucked up.
Yeah.
Good times.
Made some good jokes that nobody will hear ever again, ever.
Never, because they're fucking lost forever. We're going to try to redo those jokes.
Yeah.
They're not going to work as well this time because we've already
They'll be just as funny. Anyway.
So, hey, Darby.
Hey, Scott.
Did you hear about the guy in Florida?
No. What happened to the guy in Florida? What do I do with my hands?
So, I found this. I don't know. Nobody can see you but me.
Oh, but it feels so weird.
Just keep them above the desk.
Nope.
So, I read this article a couple days ago now. Florida man died from meth overdose before alligator ate him.
God damn.
Is that not the most fucking
That's
Florida
pretty
thing
fucking
you've ever
Florida.
heard?
But if I were to plan out my meth and alligator death, that's exactly the way it would happen.
If you're going to plan out your alligator death, you get all messed up first?
Yes. What, you wouldn't?
Maybe try to fight it off?
Maybe. Or maybe try to pet it. Oh, are you hungry, little alligator?
Maybe that's how he got attacked in the first place.
Maybe
you're onto something. Maybe he was methed out of his head and wanted to fucking ride an alligator.
You know what? We solve so many mysteries on this show.
We really do.
Yeah.
Restarting this went better than I thought it would. That was all fucking new material.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
So this article, the very first line in it, a, quote, methamphetamine intoxication, end quote, killed Michael Ford before the reptile tore his body apart.
Oh, R.I.P. Michael Ford. Is that what we said?
I think it was Michael Ford.
Yeah.
Michael Ford.
Yes. Our sincerest empathies to his family, but goddamn, he died the way that he lived, on meth and with an alligator.
Probably a bone or two. Let's be honest.
I mean, some of those alligators kind of hot, you know. They've got the alligator.
Cloaca.
What?
Cloaca.
Cloaca?
Yeah.
Is that your...
You never watched Crocodile Hunter back in the day?
No.
Cloacas?
No.
No?
No idea.
That's a large reptile's reproductive thing.
Oh.
I don't know if they're male or female or both or what, but yeah, cloaca.
Nice.
It's something to do with alligator pussy.
That is scientifically hot.
Dick.
Yeah. You know, my next furry convention, I'm going to go as an alligator.
With a giant gaping cloaca.
Either cloaca or either gaping or swollen. We don't really know which it is. One of the two. Or maybe both. That'd be weird.
Maybe.
Look like pink eye. Anyway. So
yeah, this is the Higher Minds podcast.
It is. I'm Papa Darby.
I'm Scott.
God damn it. We did it perfectly last time.
Yeah, that worked way better the first time than this time.
Oh, well, you know who we are. That's Scott. I'm Papa Darby.
No, that's Darby. I'm Scott.
Yeah. Wait, no, you're Scott.
No, you're Darby.
Yes, but no. What? Anyway. Oh, now that we're all confused. I don't know who I am.
What is anymore. The topic of the day here?
This one is sad. This one's dark. This one's heavy. And yeah, this one is about the murder of Clara Swart.
Oh, I thought we were going towards like fat black emo kid.
What?
Heavy, dark, sad.
Oh. Not too many of those, but if we find one, we'll tell you the story about him or her. We are gender friendly here. Anyway,
So, who was Clara Swart?
Clara Swart, you'd never heard of her. You talked about, you spelled it wrong, right? The first time when you Googled it, right? What'd you get?
Yeah, I had misheard you, and I heard Clara Swart, or Swartz with a Z instead of no Z. And when you type it in SWARTZ, you get a lot of shit for SCHWARTZ,
Which is not what we...
who is another murder. Yeah, Clara Schwartz.
Yeah.
From what little bit I read, that murder seems way more interesting than the one we're doing. So we're going to have to do that one in the future.
Yeah, I don't know about more interesting. Definitely interesting, though. Definitely worth a read. I didn't know what you're talking about. What was it?
This one was I think she was a teenage girl, and her boyfriend killed her father because they were vampires.
Wow. Yes, I want to cover
Does
that.
your story have vampires in it?
Doesn't. It doesn't.
So the one that I stumbled across is instantly better then.
I can't. Okay, so I will tell you why I can't really classify it as better. So full disclosure here, and I think this story needs it. I was married into this family. I know all of the players except for the murderer in here. I came along. I don't know, 4 years later. This happened in '96, and I met the granddaughter of Clara Swart and ended up marrying her in 1999, 2000. So it was a few years after. Anyway, so I know a few things behind the behind the scenes kind of things, the things that weren't reported. And I think legally I should say that everything that I add to the story that isn't already public knowledge are things that were said to me personally. These are the things that were said to me, I personally experienced, and that is my...
Behind closed doors kind of thing.
Yes. Like, yeah. I can't, some of the things that were said to me are opinion and not necessarily fact, but I'm in a legal situation. That's kind of where this is stand. It's not hearsay because it was said to me, but some of the stuff that I know personally is hearsay. Okay. I hope that makes sense. So, on with the story. So, what was your impression of this? We'll start with you.
From the links that you had sent me, because I couldn't find anything on my own, because I kept coming up with Clara Schwartz shit. But from the links you had sent me, which is some of the driest reading I have ever fucking tried to read.
Did send you...
I don't know how you get
I did send you the legal, the actual, legal court documents.
Yeah, 40 some odd pages of legalese.
Yeah. I found it super interesting. I think I distilled it pretty well.
Yeah, but from what I gathered from it, some random dude murdered some woman who had a history of doing things that he probably should have already been in prison for.
Yes. Yeah.
And you'll get to it, but I think he kind of got fucked on this case. I think he definitely did it, but I think legally he kind of got fucked on this case. We'll get to that.
Yeah, you did say that. I'm not really sure what you meant by that, but that's totally cool because that's what makes this show interesting. I want to know what you have to say once we get to it. Anyway, so I'm going to cite my sources with this. Other than my own personal experience, I got this from, these are the sites I sent you. Caselaw.findlaw.com. This is the case known as Swart et al. Appellants v. Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Correction et al. Appellees. I got this from murderpedia.com and law.justia.com.
I love that there's a murderpedia.com.
Yeah, have you ever read that before? Look through it?
No.
Oh. See, those of true crime and stuff.
You're way more into the murder
I am.
shit, true crime
I am.
shit.
But that's the source.
To me, this is some person I've never met killed some other person I've never met. Like,
Yeah.
I don't have any sort of connection to these.
And most of them I don't either, but the only two that we...
This is the second one that we've covered that you
I
do.
know. Is it me?
I'm kind of afraid to fucking hang out with you.
Yeah. Anyway, so at approximately 6:30 p.m. on August 26, 1996, Timothy Swart found his 70-year-old mother, Clara, tied to a wooden chair on the floor of her Claremont County home. This was in Amelia, Ohio, which is close to where I live now, currently. And
Part of the time.
I'm actually, most of the time I'm not here, but yeah. I am right now, though. Anyway, so this was the same town that you had posted something about them not liking a tax, and so they abolished their government. Do you remember that?
Oh, is this the same fucking
It's the same town. Yeah. I saw that, and I was like, no shit, we're doing the show on this.
Go those people. Yeah. So, about that, they tried to introduce more taxes on bullshit, and the people that went, nah, we're done with this government shit, and fucking disbanded their city government.
And apparently,
So, go those people.
Captain America, agrees. Chris Evans, on the bottom of that.
Oh.
He was like, imagine this, but everywhere. Yeah.
You said Chris, and I didn't realize that guy's name was Chris Evans,
Yeah.
I guess. Chris Captain America. I'm like, who the fuck are you talking about?
Chris Evans. Come on. You're being Marvel nerd with me. It's fun.
Isn't Thor a Chris too? Isn't he like Chris Hemsworth
Yes.
or some shit? Or is that his brother? Which one is which?
What?
Thor's brother is also an actor.
Oh. Well, Thor's is Chris Hemsworth.
He played the guy in the Hunger Games
Yeah.
movies. Okay. What's the brother's name?
Chris Hemsworth's brother.
His smaller, less successful
Mrs.
brother.
Hemsworth. Anyway, so, yeah, I didn't know that story, so that's interesting. But, so Claire's hands had been tied behind her back with an electrical cord. She was strangled with a shoulder strap of her purse. Her home had been ransacked and several items had been stolen. So, a little bit about Clara. Prior to this, Clara was a beloved working-class grandmother and wife. This family never really had any money, but they were still a very happy family with 3 athletic sons who grew up always playing baseball outside or just going out being boys. Oh, you're smoking a joint.
I am smoking a joint. I live in Colorado. I get to
ASMR.
Weird, not porn.
Oh, so there was this thing.
I wonder.
Oh, are you gonna? I can't hear it on this side, so. Can you hear it?
That was probably just a lot of wind noise. That's all I can hear is the wind noise.
All right. Anyway, so she was known to her brood of grandchildren as the nice grandma. She was the type to let her grandchildren get into anything they wanted as she carried on with her housework. She had, and I think it was part-time, a job at the local convenience store where she was very well liked by all of the regulars. Her regulars would bring her things, bring her in particular Marlboro miles, where she would send in for all the Marlboro gear. You remember all that stuff?
My dad had so much of that shit.
So her grandkids remember her too.
He smoked like a couple packs a day for a lot of years.
So Clara never smoked though, but she would give out all the Marlboro stuff as gifts. So her husband, and I feel bad, I don't remember his name off the top of my head, but her husband had just recently died within 6 months of this occurring. He had died due to natural causes. She had reacted badly and had fallen into depression, as widows and widowers do.
Yeah, your fucking life, spouse, person you loved dies. Depression's gonna come.
Yeah, it's weird if it doesn't. But her family had recently convinced her that life could go on, and so she decided to get out and start meeting some people. But up until this point in her adult life, her entire life had been about taking care of her husband and the family. They had 3 boys, like I said, and then those boys also had numerous grandchildren. She had been married since high school, I think, and was from a time and area where that was all that life was for a woman, which, by all accounts, she described as having been happy with that. But I get the feeling that she was such a sweet lady that had she wanted more, nobody would have known. Like, everybody loved her.
So what you're saying is she knew her place in the kitchen and did the woman's work around the house.
Ooh.
Is that what you're saying?
That's not what I said? You said that?
I'm pretty sure I just re-paraphrased your words there.
I'm not saying you didn't.
Barefoot and pregnant. I'm pretty sure I heard barefoot and pregnant there somewhere.
I think she had. Thank you very much. So, so her friends and family had noticed that since she had joined a senior center that her children had convinced her to join, she'd started making friends and her depression had begun lifting. And up until this point, she seemed like she had started enjoying life again. Now, let me tell you about Jesse.
Poor timing.
Right? Damn. Like, fuck. So, Jesse James Cowan. Jesse James Cowan was born on October 23rd, 1960. He's currently 59 years old. Growing up...
Was he a Old West gunslinger or chopper?
Let me get through a few lines, and you decide for yourself. Yeah. Okay. Well, no, I mean, that's a great question. So growing up, he was known around the neighborhood as a punk juvenile. He had been arrested 16 times for robbery as a juvenile. When he was 8.
Leaning more towards the old West outlaw. Okay.
When he was 8 years old, 8, he was arrested for armed robbery. Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah, definitely getting into the fucking
yeah. Can you imagine a little 8-year-old coming up?
I like where this is going. All
like
right.
this dude is not up to your hips, and he has a gun pointed at you, saying, "Give me all your shit." Like, fuck. That would blow my mind. I'd be like, "All right, little dude, yeah." All right. So, but he had held up a store with the gun that he had found in a car, but he was 8 years old, so he was stupid and quickly got arrested. I hear banging. Shh. All right. In 1977, when he was 16, he manually strangled his wheelchair-bound best friend. He robbed him of his wallet, ring, watch, and then turned up the gas on his stove to try to set the apartment on fire.
So, not the best of friends, were they?
No. Not my definition. Maybe he liked that, though.
Or maybe they were BFFs and he was taking that a little seriously.
Maybe. I mean, Michael Hutchence liked that stuff.
Who?
The singer from INXS who died by autoerotic asphyxiation.
Okay, I know who you're talking about now.
Yeah.
I might have gone with what the fuck was the... Jesus, how the fuck am I spacing on this name? The genie from fucking Aladdin.
Oh, Robin
Williams. Jesus, I need to fucking stop smoking pot.
Well, but I don't think he was diddling himself at the time. I think he was like genuinely trying to die. At least up until that point.
They just don't want you to think he was diddling himself at the time.
You know, I hope he was. I mean, that's the way I want to think of it.
There's another one. Dude from Soundgarden. What's his name?
Chris Cornell.
Chris Cornell, yeah.
Yeah. All.
If you gotta choke yourself while you jerk off, maybe you're not jerking off right.
I'm probably not. I mean, I don't have the urge, but I mean, we are talking about people who's had every woman on earth. both of our moms.
Yeah.
So I mean, what else is
I'm
there?
sure they all got their own.
There was a bit, Justin Timberlake from SNL a few years ago. He was third person telling a story about himself or his grandson, quote unquote himself in the future, about how he will have so many beautiful and so many different beautiful women that he started trying stuff with men. Maybe they just didn't want to try stuff with men.
Maybe they already had and decided that wasn't for them. I don't know how closely the music industry is to the fucking movie industry, but
yeah, maybe.
We're way the fuck off topic.
We are. But the last thing I want to say is that Robin Williams did live through the 70s and some weird shit got down. Yeah. Anyway, so
Yeah.
So he tried to set his friend's house on fire, and that was unsuccessful. And for it, he got arrested. During this trial, it said that he was so violent and unruly during the trial that he had to be wired down. For this, he was sentenced to 15 years to life for that murder. But he was paroled in 1989.
But at least he's not an arsonist, too.
He didn't get charged for that. Actually, I have no idea if he did or not. I didn't look into those charges.
Well, you said he was unsuccessful in burning the place down. So
yeah, but is that? I don't know if he got charged for like attempted arson or something. He might have.
Yeah,
but not actual arson, which I guess checks off in the not arsonist box.
Yeah. One on the good column.
St. Peter's gonna be proud. So he was paroled in 1989. Before his parole, though, guards and shrinks labeled him as a danger to the public. During his time in prison, he was recorded to threaten guards and prisoners. He was caught with an 8-inch spike. He set fire to his cell. Arsonist.
Okay, never mind. I retract that form of that statement.
Yeah. He threw urine.
Also, how do you get an 8-inch spike into prison?
Lots of lube.
Butt jokes.
That was another one. Oh, do we get the butt joke from? Was the butt joke in the first
recording? I bet the butt joke was on the first take.
Oh no, you guys missed the prime butt joke. Oh well.
I don't remember how exactly it went.
But he just like that. Okay. Anyway, so he threw urine and defecation at the guards. He attacked guards with a steel bucket. He charged guards with pencils. He fought with inmates and guards. And he attempted to scam women with letters from prison asking them for protection money. That didn't work.
I laugh, but there's somebody out there dumb enough to fall for that shit.
Yeah. I mean, he did it more than once, so I don't know. I don't think it worked. So one report accused him of seductive and obscene acts, but I think he was just having some good old prison love, which, everybody needs love. But I feel bad for the cop who had to report that activity that he was doing as seductive. What he was doing really turned me on.
I'm not proud of it, but I gotta have it.
Hey, you know what? It's okay to have your kink. That's fine. So, the Ohio Parole Board felt him fit to be released nonetheless, twice, the second time resulting in murder. He was paroled for the first time in 1989 and was out for 16 months until he was caught with pills, weed, and a knife after leaving the scene of an accident. So, yeah. So he got sent back in and did more bad shit.
Was he in the accident, or did he just steal the pills, weed, and knife from the accident?
I didn't get the details. I mean, he might have just been witnessed an accident and walked away.
I like to think that he was just walking down the street and there was a car accident. He ran over there to check if they're okay, and hey, fucking pills and weed and a knife.
Yeah.
See you guys later.
He's like, you know what? These things will get you guys in trouble. I'll take it for you.
You shouldn't use this while driving.
Bad.
See what happens?
Bad. So, the parole board's own March 29th, 1995 risk assessment, a year before Cowens was granted his second parole, rated him in 10 categories, such as prior felonies, alcohol and drug abuse, and prison behavior. In every category but one, he had the highest risk score possible. On a maximum risk scale that stops at 40, he had a 37. On a scale of 1 to 4...
Damn, that's like an A-.
Yeah, he was really good at prison.
Yeah. Yeah. Fucking excellent at prison. Top of the class.
Well, get this. Yeah. So on a scale of 1 to 4, with 4 being the highest possible risk, Jesse James Cowens was rated a 5. True story.
Fucking honor roll.
Overachiever.
That's from taking those college classes when you're in high school and you get like a 4 point whatever GPA.
He just wanted it more than everybody else.
He was doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Overachieving.
So, but the 5 was inked out and corrected to 4. Now, on the parole board's quick glance matrix, 4 means usually will not be released until after 2 more continuances, which means at a time. A 5 means release is not appropriate. So, he had been...
So he's getting closer.
No.
He was overachieving at first, and then he dropped it back down to, yeah, he might be okay.
No, so the story is about overcrowding, actually. So they were just trying to...
The land of the free has too many fucking people in our prisons?
Well, see, you need to make room for weed smokers and potheads and stoners.
Right.
They need a place to be jailed too, because they're the real drains on society.
Right. It's that whole gateway drug.
It is. It is. They're the ones that are... It's their fault that they are filling up these prisons so the murderers can go out and murder some more. So you need to lock them up more.
The murderers or the weed people?
You need to lock up the weed people.
I'm not sure if I'm following
You need to lock up the weed people because the weed people are filling the prisons and pushing out the murderers, so all they can do is get out on the streets. So you need to lock up the weed people.
Making the world a better place.
What?
Making the world a better place.
Yes. So, he had been paroled for 4 months before he murdered Clara Swart. One day in July of 1996, Tim, who is the one who found her, and my father-in-law, my ex-father-in-law, was helping her clean up her house by taking things out to the curb for trash. Cowens drove up and wanted to take a glider-type swing, and Tim helped him put it in the back of his truck. On Wednesday, October 28th, 1996, Clara's neighbor went to Clara's house. She found her standing at the front door talking to a man who was later identified as Cowens. Clara told Cowens she was leaving with her friend, and he left. After he left, Clara told her neighbor, quote, "Oh, I'm scared. He made me so nervous. He scared me so bad." Unquote. Her neighbor asked who he was, and she replied, quote, "It was the man who came and got the chair off the garbage a few weeks ago." Unquote. At 8 a.m. on Thursday, August 29th, a Claremont County Senior Services bus arrived at her house to pick her up. Clara didn't reply to the sound of the horn, so the bus driver went and knocked on the door. He heard noises inside, but she didn't answer the door nor the phone, so the driver drove on. Tim came to the house to check up on her and found her body. Clara had been strangled with a purse strap, which was still around her neck. An electrical cord had been tied around her neck into the handle of the fridge. Her hands had been bound by a telephone cord. She was still wearing her jewelry. Officers found a palm print on a plastic bag that covered a blender. After talking to the neighbor, the cops decided that Cowens was a viable suspect. They called his parole officer, who helped him obtain his fingerprints, which were a match for what they found on the blender. They searched his place and found several items that were identified as belonging to Clara, including a clown figurine and a small wooden car. They then used...
And this is where he was getting fucked a little bit. with that search, that initial search. 2 cops went with the parole officer and, quote unquote, didn't assist her search without any sort of warrant.
So you don't need a warrant if you're on parole.
The only reason that she even found and acknowledged that clown figurine is because the cops who were not there on a warrant pointed it out to her and said that one of those was taken from the crime scene. A parole officer can do an inspection, but when it's pertaining to a different crime like this, you should have a warrant to have those cops in the house searching.
Well, they had also...
She's even quoted... let me find it here. Here it is. A deputy found the clown figurine. The figurine, Higgins testified, quote, didn't cause me any concern at first because I didn't know what it was, end quote. Higgins apparently knew that a clown figurine had been stolen, but erroneously thought the stolen figure was smaller. The deputies warned her not to touch it. Higgins testified that she would not have seized the clown had the deputies not been there.
Okay.
So the very first, other than the palm print, like the very first piece of physical evidence wouldn't have been found had those other deputies not been there searching with the parole officer.
I didn't look into that part of it. Interesting. However, they did have the palm print.
This thing goes on. Although she did not, quote, physically take hold of the clown, Higgins testified that she was responsible for its seizure. Quote, I seized it because I was the one conducting the search. She was the official one on the search. So she was the one that, quote unquote, seized it.
I don't know if legally that's determinative, though. Like,
it seems like a violation of the Fourth Amendment.
The Fourth Amendment search and seizure.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, I don't know. I can't legally say.
I'm not a lawyer. I don't know, but it seems fucky to me. There's a little bit farther on that I'm sure you'll get to too that is kind of circumstantial.
Yeah. The fact that that's there, that's physical evidence, and legally obtained or not, that's still physical evidence, and the palm print's physical evidence. And then everything else that is circumstantial. But I will get into some of the circumstantial stuff, which is pretty convincing too.
Right. Yeah, I'm not saying he didn't fucking kill her. I'm just saying that legally he kind of got fucked here, it looks like.
Perhaps. Maybe if he had a better lawyer, he would have gotten off. Not that
that comes into play too.
Not that he should have, but yeah. Anyway, where the fuck were we? So then they used dogs to lead them from the back of his house straight to her house. Well, not straight to her house, but in a straight enough line that the dogs did lead to the different houses because they only lived a couple of blocks away. Apparently, he just had to walk through some woods to get there.
Yeah, it looked like he had just taken a walk through the woods, connecting the backyards, basically.
Yeah, and if you, the area is the type where it's very woodsy suburban.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A lot of Ohio's like that.
Yeah. So one of Cowan's neighbors testified that she had a conversation with Cowan's after that, and he said, yeah, isn't it terrible to hang a lady by the refrigerator with her hands tied behind her back? This information at that point hadn't yet been made public. After his arrest, he claimed he had been singled out because he was an ex-con. While confined in prison, a prison snitch said that he admitted to robbing and killing Clara. He told the informant that he found her in the bathroom and that he jerked her off the toilet, which would be consistent with urine that they found in the toilet by the police. He also told the informant that he wished that he had stolen her ring and earrings, which, as stated before, were found on her body.
Right.
Cowens was indicted on 4 counts of aggravated murder. Count 1, alleged murder with prior calculation and design. Counts 2 through 4, alleged felony murder. Each count carried 4 death specifications, alleging that Cowens had a prior murder conviction. Other counts charged kidnapping to facilitate commission of felony and kidnapping with purpose to terrorize or inflict serious physical harm. He was convicted on all counts, and on April 17th, 1997, he was sentenced to death. He's being housed at the Monroe County Lebanon Correctional Institute, which is 5 minutes away from me. Like, I pass it.
That's down in the Cincinnati area?
It's north Cincinnati. I live like halfway between Cincinnati and Dayton.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know about where you're at.
Noises. And, yeah, I have to pass. Whenever I would come back from Kansas, I don't pass it now because I come a different route. But every time I'd come back from Kansas, I would pass it 5 minutes before I got to my place. But to this day, he denies killing Clara Swart. I think he did it. He,
Oh, I think he did it too, but like I said, I also think he got fucked on this case.
Maybe. I don't know. That's hard to philosophically say. Do the ends justify the means? And this is also a capital case. Like, should people be put to death for any reason at all? Ever? Is that our job? Is it just vengeance? Is it the right thing to do? Does it help anything? Does it help to house him? I mean, he obviously can't stay in public.
There was a show on Showtime years ago, Penn and Teller's Bullshit. Did you ever watch that one?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course.
Did you see the one on capital punishment?
I think maybe I have, but I've seen a lot of stuff on capital punishment, and it's a blur, so please.
Their episode of Penn and Teller's Bullshit on capital punishment sets up one of the most convincing arguments against capital punishment I've ever heard. Definitely recommend it.
Yeah.
If you can find it on YouTube, or I don't know if it's streaming anywhere, but if you can find that clip, I definitely recommend checking that out. And the rest of the show. That show was the fucking shit back in the day.
Yeah. It's still worth a see. But
I have that whole
I know
fucking show on DVD. My
Do
brother
you
has it
really?
right now. Yeah, I loaned him to my brother. Yeah, I have
Not
that whole
VHS?
show on DVD. No, that was post VHS era. Thank you.
I bet you can find it on VHS somewhere. I bet it's there. Oh, you know what? Hell, just copy them from from DVD to VHS yourself.
Yeah, just record it onto a blank cassette tape. Or if you can
It'd
still
be
find
HD
cassette
quality
tapes.
for. Ooh, I have no idea.
They quit making
know
VCRs a few
that-
years ago. I read there was like one company in China still making them, and they
Really?
quit doing them. Like just within like the last 5
Aw.
years, probably.
Oh, that's sad. So I know, and obviously, because of what happened to his mother, Tim is very into capital punishment. He absolutely wants this guy dead. Both of his brothers and him, including himself, want this guy dead. At one point, they wanted to kill himself. Now that's hearsay. That's part of the things that I know. They didn't try. They don't have the means to try, but obviously they want to kill them. They want him dead. He tortured their mother to death. I mean, what would you do?
Right. Yeah, I get that and wanting capital punishment. But I look at it more of a, have people been wrongfully convicted in the past? Absolutely. There's people get released all the time that have been wrongfully convicted. Has anybody ever been wrongfully convicted that was put on death row? Probably.
Of course, yeah.
Have any of
But
those
there's
people
been-
ever
it's been proven tons.
followed through with that fucking execution that was wrongfully convicted on death row? Probably.
Yeah.
Am I okay with the government stealing money from my paycheck to kill innocent people? Absolutely not.
There we go. Yeah. No, I agree too. I know, I don't know if it's right. I know there are circumstances where I would be absolutely cool with killing somebody, like myself, with my own bare hands. There are circumstances where I would find that perfectly justified and warranted.
Right.
But
You're a
yeah,
father.
do I want
Like,
the government?
I get that.
Yeah, but you're right. Do I want the government to make those decisions according to their rules and laws for me? No, no, I don't.
Yeah, you better be pretty fucking sure that that is 100% the person that did it before you fucking kill him. Yeah. I imagine if my brother, my mother, whoever got fucking murdered, I would probably change my tune on capital punishment too.
Would you? I mean, would you? You? I don't think that you would want the government still to. I don't think you'd want it to be them that does it, right?
Oh, I would much rather a vigilante sort of situation take care of that. Because that saves
Right.
tax money on the fucking trial too.
Right.
I am all for not fucking spending tax money.
And in a Hammurabi sort of way, right? I mean, do exactly to him what he did to her and to his
Yeah.
wheelchair friend.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. There are people in this world that do not need to be on this world, but I don't think it's government's place to make that decision. I
Yeah,
don't know
but then
whose
whose
choice
place
that
is it?
should be, but
Yeah.
I know that I don't want the government in charge of that shit.
No, they mostly fuck up everything. So I don't know. I don't know either. It's a tough one. This guy definitely deserves it, for sure. Not from the government, from her boys. They deserve to do it to him. I think they proved beyond a reasonable doubt that he did it.
Yeah,
And once that
yeah,
happens,
from all that case shit that I trudged through that you sent me, God, I don't know how you read that.
see,
Yeah,
I
from
write
what I
dryer
read-
shit for work.
Well, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a pretty boring guy sometimes.
Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah, but from what I read, I absolutely believe that he killed her. But like the BB gun that they found in his pickup truck, we didn't even talk about that one.
No, actually, I left out a whole bunch too. Well, I left out a little bit, but I got to the major points. But yeah,
Yeah.
what about the BB gun?
There was, I guess, no evidence of a struggle at the scene of the crime, which some would suggest that he had some sort of a weapon that she was complying with him as to not get shot or stabbed or whatever the situation was. And they found a BB gun in his pickup truck, apparently, that they decided was the weapon used to make her not struggle, even though there's not really any hard evidence to suggest that. Like, it's all just circumstantial. He had a BB gun in his car. They don't think she struggled, therefore that's the gun that made her not struggle.
Yeah. Actually, I didn't read about that, so maybe I just didn't read close enough, or I missed that. But
That was about halfway through that 140 some odd page pile that you sent me.
yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't know how to conclude this. She died. I feel very bad.
Jeffrey
It's very
Epstein.
horrible.
There's
that happened.
another dude that went to prison, didn't make it out.
Did you say Epstein?
Yeah.
He didn't. I mean, but he deserved it, but not yet.
Yeah. That's another dude that deserved it, but like you said, not yet.
So
Although we did save a bunch of tax money on him, quote unquote, killing himself.
we did. It happened in what? Within a month or so?
When was it? If I remember right, he was arrested in August and dead by September, October. I don't remember now.
Yes. We definitely saved a bunch of tax money, which, I mean, on the books is a good thing. I mean, yeah.
You don't have to give 3 hots and a cot to a dead guy.
You don't. And I mean, how expensive is cremation? It's cheaper than housing him, I'm sure.
Free if you do it right.
Amen. Fucking Viking style.
What's a gallon of gas nowadays? About $2.50, $3, somewhere around there.
Perfect. Just a hole in the ground.
People in California are losing their fucking mind over $2.50 and $3 gallon gasoline.
Yeah. So hard segue. You came up with some pretty good designs. I really like the shirt designs that you came up with.
Good.
They're simple. They're elegant. And we will have them. It's definitely not going to be by Christmas time, but we will have them available for the new year. We will have them in January.
Cool.
Yeah.
Which one are you going with? Because I made a couple of them and
I might
send them your way.
I might just
You
do
were
like
kinda
5
handling
and 5 or
the rest of it.
something, or make a few.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not all that
Do
expensive.
them some sort of a giveaway or some shit.
Well, I was about to
What are you
say
thinking?
that the first person who emails us and says hi and tells us a story or something gets a fucking shirt for free. Like, I will deliver it. I will pay for the shipping and everything for free. You get it for free. All you have to do is
And what do they have to do?
email us. Just email us. Tell us stuff.
And where would they email us at?
highermindspodcast@gmail.com.
There we go. That's what I was trying to get you
Yeah.
to say.
Yeah. What were you trying to get me to say?
That they should email us at highermindspodcast@gmail.com.
At gmail.com. Higher Minds Podcast.
Little lisdexic there on that one.
I didn't catch that. What?
I said, did you go a little lisdexic there on that one?
Yes, I did. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, we've been getting we're holding steady at about 100 listeners a week, which is cool. Thank you. I'm sure one of you will get a T-shirt. We really appreciate your listens, and tell your friends, tell your parents, tell your teachers.
That you gotta pump those numbers up, man. Just popped into my head.
Yeah, me too. We really do. So, you, the listeners, and we have some.
Share the fuck out of
Yes,
this shit.
please. We will also, once we get it in, announce some sort of sharing contest for T-shirts too, because everybody likes a T-shirt, and sharing is easy. Except for us, we're sharing T-shirts.
Sharing
Little.
is caring.
A little difficult, but sharing is caring. So are BJ. So, if you're the BJ given type, give them. Why did you just bring up BJ's? That's weird, Scott.
You listeners can't see this, but he held eye contact with the camera on his phone that we're chatting through the entire time he was saying that.
Blue job.
It was way fucking creepier for me than it was for any of you guys listening.
Yes, it was. It creeped me out a little bit, but in a kind of hot way. Kind of like a seductive and obscene way in prison.
Hey, we came full circle on that one.
Yeah. Anyway.
Once again, kind of sporting a hat.
Yeah, see? Now you got to write that down. Now, we don't, because this is recorded and on audio, so everybody will know
It's
that for the rest of...
and on audio.
Yeah. It is.
That's redundant and repetitive.
Again. Anyway, if you do want to talk to us, where do you talk to us?
You can find us on Facebook.
On Facebook.
You can find us on Instagram. You can find us at the aforementioned Higher Minds Podcast at gmail.com.
Aforementioned. Anything else?
You can also find us directly at highermindspodcast.com.
Yep, we're there. We should put our is there email connected to that? It should be. If it's not,
Is there what?
we'll do that. Our email connected to that?
I have no idea.
I don't know either.
We used
Well,
to
anyway.
have links to our social media on there too, and I don't know if those are still there or not.
I
There was some
believe they're
changes
there.
going on the website a while back, and I haven't looked at it in a while.
I believe they're there. Yeah,
Are
I'm
they?
pretty sure.
Cool.
I think. Well, the last time you mentioned it, I went and I checked it out and made sure they were there, and they're there.
Were they? Okay.
Yeah. So
And
yeah,
you should be able to listen to us just about everywhere now.
yeah. Google us
It
and you'll
seems like
find us.
The uploads are a little slow to some platforms other than others. SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher probably being the first three to get the episodes, and then
Yeah.
following a couple days later on the other platforms.
Is it days? Have you noticed? I've noticed.
The app that I use is like 2 episodes behind right now.
Oh, really? Okay.
Mhm.
What app do you use?
What the hell is that? Podcast Addict.
Oh, really? Okay. It's still not on the one I use, which is Podbean.
Yeah, I think we're like 2 episodes behind on the one that I use.
Interesting. Okay. Well, as always, this will be
But
up on Wednesday.
usually whenever I go back and re-listen to us, I just do it straight from SoundCloud, so.
Yeah, me too. Well, no, yeah, me too. Yeah.
Are you sure? You
I'm
don't
sure.
look too sure about that.
I'm sure. I think.
Maybe.
I think I'm sure.
Possibly.
I want to be sure. Okay. All right.
Well,
This has been the Higher Minds podcast.
this is fucking falling apart at the end of the episode is what it's doing.
Yeah. You know what? If we did to read that first 6 minutes, this is the last 6 minutes. That's the problem. We pushed it all back, and that's all we had for today.
We blew our load on the first recording, and
It was that good.
scrambling to keep up on this one.
It was that good. I mean, the
That
listeners
was a good, like, 6-7 minutes, just fucking completely lost forever.
orgasmic audio. I mean, it was just that's what I sound like, just so you know.
Once again, way creepier for me than you guys just listening. I had to see it too.
Straight, like, dead eyes, dead in the eyes, drool dripping.
Why does your lip do that?
Yeah.
Like fucking Elvis Presley had a stroke or some shit.
Only half of my pelvis moves. Oh, stroke jokes. Stroking jokes. There's more jokes there.
My dad's had a couple strokes, so I feel like I can make stroke jokes. like when you're Jewish, you can make Jewish jokes.
Right. My best friend had a stroke. Anyway. So yeah, this has been the Higher Minds podcast.
It has.
I'm Papa Darby.
And I'm Scott.
Yeah. Deuces.
Let's do that again.
Okay.
I went first on the intro, so I figured I'd let you go first on the outro, and you weren't paying attention to me when I gave you the...
Okay. All right. This has been the Higher Minds podcast.
It has.
I'm Papa Darby.
And I'm Scott.
Deuces.
Deuces, everybody.